All right. Good evening, guys. This is the Battle Hymnal with Jake, Graham, and Josh talking Cincinnati Bearcats and the bloodlust. But before we get to the bloodlust from the gridiron, we're going to recap our Saturday game where Georgia's off to their first 6-0 start since 1982-1983, which you may or may not have seen. That was our year. They're the only year we went to the Final Four. Good evening, boys. How you guys doing?
Good, man. How are you?
I am great. Jake is also known as at UGA Hoops Mafia and is our coming from us from an undisclosed location and prefers to keep his presence a little down low. You never know who's looking out for him, but he's going to talk some hoops with us. Graham's coming from the high altitude of Southwest Colorado. Tell us about the weather there, because we're jealous of you're going to have a white Christmas.
So there is snow on the ground, so I guess that technically qualifies as a white Christmas, but we do not have any storms impending between now and Christmas Day.
Can you get bread at the grocery store?
What'd you say?
Can you get bread at the grocery store?
Oh yeah, there's all that good stuff. Yeah, there's milk and bread and batteries, and yeah, we're all well stocked.
All right, well, let's get into some plays. Jake, get us a play we can jump off and sort of kind of like get us going here and on our recap.
I think that first play from the first half we talked about when Georgia was up 2-0.
Let me see here.
Clip one.
Clip one?
Yeah.
All right. Watch this. Take us through it.
Yeah, this was beautiful defense right here. Just locked down. You'll see Kamara comes up to the top of the key, showing his versatility as a defender right there. And it ends up being a Georgia transition bucket. But just locked in and engaged on defense, fighting for a rebound. That dude right there is a 7-footer, but Georgia won the ball there. And then, obviously, Wheeler making a great pass, and Kamara that dude's just always on point. I mean, he's always running down the floor. He's a really special talent. But that right there is just beautiful. Just defense to offense. It's what you really want to see, especially with Georgia trying to play a fast-paced tempo. So started off the game with a bang right there.
Nice. And then we got the ball down low a couple times. This is one that just made me happy because I mean we're kind of not great shooting the 3-pointer, and so it's going to be important to be able to get into a half court set and get the ball down low and score some points. This is much later in the game. I'm going to jump around a little bit, but this is going through my playlist here. I like this one a lot.
Yeah. This one, talking about like McMillan, 6'9", he just has a nose for the ball around the block, and then that pass wasn't great to him, but his vision. I mean, as soon as he got it, he was looking for Brown on the cut. So I think he's underutilized. I think he's a guy that deserves more minutes. Very athletic, and then he's got that size. He just seems to get good positioning down low. So really excited about him. And then Christian Brown with a great finish as well. So that one was definitely one of the top plays I felt like from the game on Saturday.
And you talked about McMillan had a good basket early in the half too to get him started here. Let's see if I can cue that up. Somebody talk to me here while I cue this one up.
44. Yeah, well, so the thing that I've noticed a lot just watching the game Saturday night and watching other games so far this year is like this team, everyone is always moving on both sides of the ball, on defense and offense. Everyone's active with their feet. You don't see a lot of lazy like kind of loafing on defense. Guys have their hands up. Guys are down in proper defensive position. And I think the thing that surprised me a little bit on Saturday, because like we know Kamara is a good player, we know that Severe is the engine of the offense, but just seeing how many guys contributed. I think we've got 5 guys that are averaging over 10 points a game right now, and the thing that I think is exciting about that is that like Georgia teams in the past last year if Anthony Edwards wasn't having a great night, the Dawgs weren't having a great night. Nicholas Claxton, even going back to like Trey Tompkins and some of those guys, like Georgia's always kind of had that one guy that the team sort of runs through, and if you could take that away, then you could shut them down pretty easily. And there's a lot of guys. There's no like superstars on this team, maybe with the exception of Kamara, but there's a lot of guys that are playing solid basketball, and there's a lot of guys that can handle the ball. And I think that's the thing I'm most impressed with is the ball movement of this offense. All 5 guys can dribble well enough and can move without the ball, can move with the ball, and there's a lot of good passing going on.
Yeah, I'm bringing up this McMillan play. Jake, you're saying he's not getting a lot of playing time, but if he keeps playing like this, maybe he can be someone we can depend on in SEC play.
Yeah, every time he comes in, he makes things happen. And this right here, gets good position on the block, and then hits a nice little turnaround jump shot. And I just really like his game, and especially in the SEC. I mean, Cincinnati definitely hands down the best team that we've played to date. But in the SEC, with some of those teams that are just going to be extremely physical, that have really physical big men, I just think he's going to be a guy that we're going to need. And it's also kind of a change of pace. I mean, Georgia's offense is based on, getting penetration, people cutting to the lane. But he's a guy, I think he's shown he can post up on the block, kind of old school, post move, and get position. Even against Samford, he didn't see a lot of the floor that night, but they put him in and fed him the ball down low, and he drew a foul. Great. If we can draw some fouls on some big men in the SEC, that's fantastic. And he's very underutilized, I think, because Kamara, while he's the leading rebounder, and I'm sure in the SEC play, him and PJ Horn will be playing a lot down low just due to the size of the opponents and the physicality of them. You need a guy that can come off the bench and that can provide a decent presence down low, and I think McMillan's that guy. So everything I see from him, I'm a big fan of his. I guess you could say I got a man crush on him, but definitely he needs more minutes.
Yeah, here's some good defense and set up a basket in transition.
Yeah, and kind of to Graham's point, with our defense this year, last year there were some just straight breakdowns where they're just lapses. They look like they're much more cohesive, talking a lot more, and just being committed to defending for the full shot clock. There was actually, I believe, 2 times Saturday night where Georgia shot clocked them. We forced a shot clock violation, and that's, like you said, that's very encouraging to see Georgia playing defense to that level.
Yeah, and I think the thing that surprised me and that was positive was just I thought that Georgia's we don't have anyone on the team that's taller than 6'9", and Cincinnati has some big boys down low. They've got some big guys in the front court. They have that 7-footer that Jake already referred to, and Georgia handled their size very, very well. And I mean, even the size of their backcourt, you got Severe there picking the pocket of Cincinnati's point guard, but just like you look at the size of Severe compared to these guys that he's guarding, and they can shoot over him, and eventually we're going to find a hot shooter maybe where Severe's height's a liability, but like he's very active on defense. He's got very quick hands, and he's just kind of like that sort of Gary Payton style, like annoying, all up in your grill all the time. Even when you don't have the ball, he's kind of getting under your skin. I think he's holding his own on defense better than at least I expected him to. I don't know about you though, Jake.
Yeah, I think he's come out and playing like a veteran just in year 2, but definitely on defense. Just his ability to, like you said, just be annoying. I think that's probably the best term to to describe his defensive style is annoying. And he's making an impact. I mean, that clip that's been running where he got a steal to turn into 2 points. That's fantastic. And I think that especially one thing about Severe is with his assists, we knew he was going to be a good distributor, but I believe he's averaging a little over 8 per game. And especially with Tom Crean's style. You're going to have a point guard that can get assists. So he's really stepped up and filled every role that we've kind of hoped for coming into the season. He's still that annoying pest on defense, forcing a lot of bad shots and also getting turnovers, and then being a distributor on offense. And that clip right there, shooting a three, if he can develop that three-point shot consistently, he's going to be hell. I mean, because that's really the one aspect of his game that he was a little off, and a lot of times his shot last year, it just wasn't good. It wasn't pretty, but I believe he hit 2 threes Saturday night. So he's clearly been working on it, and that's going to be just a game changer if he can be a three-point shooter. That's a complete package for Severe. That's kind of one piece that's really missing.
Yeah, I would agree for sure. And I mean, I think, Saturday night, we were talking about the defense on the perimeter. Like, Cincinnati shot 17% from 3-point range, which is, it's low. I mean, that's about as low as you're going to see in a major college basketball game. And I mean, Georgia's not a great 3-point shooting team, but they got, they were over 30% from the 3-point line, which I think for this Georgia team, if they can stay around that 30% mark, I think you call that a win and you're happy with it.
Yeah, they're hitting about 28% on average for the year. I mean, it's going to get harder in conference play. So yeah, we're going to need to be efficient and rebound well, because we're going to have to make up for some of those misses.
Right, but I mean, Kamara stepping out and hitting some threes, like, you don't want him hanging out there all the time, but if he can develop that shot a little bit to at least where he's a threat, and those big guys have to come out and guard him on the perimeter, that's going to open up cuts for the other guys on the team without having some tall trees down there underneath the basket. But also, I mean, Kamara is good enough off the dribble where he can take some of these big men to the hole from the perimeter. And so, like, I don't know. I think the question, like, he was SEC Player of the Week this week, I believe. I saw that today, but it's just like, I think I'm curious to get like both of your opinions on this, because it's like, I tweeted this out the other night, like, kind of as a joke, but it's like, is Georgia's basketball team good? Like, are they actually good? Is Cincinnati bad?
Well,
I mean, like, because Kamara looks like an NBA kind of talent right now. And, Wheeler's doing his thing. He's distributing. He's straining the defense. He's drawing guys in and creating shots for other people. So it's like, if those two guys are what they look like so far, and we're getting this kind of production from Kyer and some of these other guys, like, what's the real story here? Like, what do we know, or do we still not know enough?
I think we gotta be overachievers this year. I think, our size is a problem, and we're still, Crean's year 3 now, and still trying to put everything together. The writers picked us 13th, and we haven't done anything to impress any of the pollsters. I guess we did get some votes. We're creeping up in the 30s, but Kim Pomeroy, we'll look at this a little later, has us 13th in the league, and outside the top 64 in his rankings and stuff. So, I'm excited. Jake, I know you're excited, but we got the SEC play, and we gotta just keep playing well.
Yeah, I agree. I think that some people kind of already saying, well, the strength of schedule is not the best, and this, that, and the other. But bottom line is, the team has won every game they played, and Cincinnati was the best competition that we've seen. I think that's no question. And Georgia kind of boat raced them, and that's a quality win for Georgia. I feel like the best team we played beat them by double digits. So I think that while we definitely need to address some of our flaws, like we had over 20 turnovers Saturday night, we're lacking in size. We do need to continue to work to be a little bit more physical, because the SEC is, it's almost like SEC football now. Like I can already see Frank Martin telling South Carolina before they play Georgia, force them to play half-court offense and be physical. And that's probably all he's going to tell his team to do, because that's the kind of teams we're going to see. So definitely some things to work on, but it's definitely something to be excited about. Especially, with all the craziness of this year, and these dudes out here 18 to 22 years old with all these COVID restrictions and in college and trying to manage all that, and they're staying focused. And so it's one of those things that I think it's totally fun to be excited, but also know that it's going to be a little bit more challenging for sure in the SEC. But again, you're 6-0. You can't ask much more out of these guys than that.
Well, I'm showing the clip here to start the second half where, you talked about several blown leads we had last year and 20-point leads that we just couldn't hold on to. And Cincinnati came out early in the second half and made a run. But, Crean called a timeout and got us back on track. And, we had a comfortable win.
Yeah, I mean, that was the most encouraging thing for me because, I literally, flipped off of the game at halftime and, looked over at my fiance and was like, this is going to end painfully. I watched a lot of Georgia basketball last year, and, they're probably going to blow this lead. Because, the first half of that game was probably as much fun you've had as a Georgia fan in, I don't know how many years, that was just everything was going down. Everything was kind of flowing the right way. There's no such thing as a perfect game, but it was impressive. And the Cincinnati team is not the Cincinnati of Bob Huggins, Kenyon Martin era by any means, but they also played a really good Xavier team, down to the wire in a very physical, very back and forth, scrappy game. So they're not slouches. And I am, I would love to see those KenPom stats whenever you can.
Here we go.
There.
Yeah, we're 86th. Yeah.
Well, we're a lot higher than at Vanderbilt, huh?
Well, it's interesting though that right above us is Mississippi State at 79. You know what I mean? So that's our first SEC game. So we're gonna get a chance to play somebody that we should be able to compete against at home. On a Saturday, and maybe it's a Saturday, maybe a Wednesday, but we get a chance to see what we got in SEC play, and not not face a Tennessee or a LSU right off the bat.
Right. Yeah, and it's Auburn is a little lower than what we've seen in years past. It'll be curious to see how they develop for sure. It's surprising to see Kentucky still where they are. I know that there's a ton of talent on that team, and they did look better against UNC, but God, if there's ever a year for us to get at least one from Kentucky, this needs to be it, right?
Yeah. Let me jump in here real fast because I'm going through these graphics and stuff, and kind of like we do with Battle Hymnal and some of the dog stats I do is sort of go beyond the stats that you're used to seeing. And these are Dean Oliver's 4 points, which is basically think of it as success rate in football, where it's actual field goal percentage and how many shots you take and how many 2-pointers and how many 3-pointers and turnover percentages, how many times you're holding the ball. And these stats go into Ken Pomeroy's rankings, and Ken Pomeroy's, these are the things that the committee tracks. Advanced rebounding is how many are available to you and what percentage you get. And you can see Georgia's actually in the advanced rebounding stats, second in the conference. Our free throw metric is not great, but this is also based on how many shots you take and how many free throws you get. So again, we're better there than we are in the sort of the standard stats and stuff. So I think, this is something that, this is how basketball is coached. And I think that Crean and the staff is kind of using the talent they've got and the players they've got to sort of put them in positions to win. So it may not be flashy stats, but if we can contribute and do these things, the little things, that's what it's going to take to compete in the SEC. So these are some stats that we're going to track this basketball season, and hopefully we can see those rankings and those, both in the analytics rankings go up, and hopefully we can see some more votes come our way, and maybe we can get ranked. But I think the goal should be to not play in the first round of the SEC tournament and be playing, on a Thursday or Friday in March to get off the bubble.
Yeah, for sure. And I think, as much as I want to believe that Georgia has a shot, because I think if you could go 500 in conference or maybe a game or two above 500, you might have a shot at a bid, depending on how everything else shakes out in other leagues. But like Georgia really needs to have the type of season where they make the NIT. You know what I mean? Like that would show some progress and some momentum. And like I do think we deserve to get, or Tom Crean deserves a little bit of credit because like Josh, I know you've been hard on him. I've been hard on him. I still don't think we're getting like the production that you should get if you're paying the third highest salary of any coach in the league. But like he's developing these guys much better than I expected. And like this, there's a marked improvement on some players from last year to this year where like they are totally different guys. And I mean I think we were the youngest team in basketball last year in college basketball or close to it. So it's like if these guys like Severe and some of these other pieces are 4-year guys, then you know there is some potential there to really like build something. And you know, I think didn't I say earlier that like Severe Wheeler he's gonna be like the bridge. He's gonna be the guy that like we hang his number in the rafters because he like took Georgia from zero to hero. Maybe not in the rafters, but like you know, I do think he has an opportunity to have like a significant place in Georgia basketball history, just because he could be an engine for a really big transformation in this program. So we'll see.
Jake, what are your thoughts on heading into the SEC play?
Heading in, yeah, I completely agree. I mean, I love to get excited about Georgia basketball and get a little over the top with it. But realistically, I mean, 7 to 8 wins in conference. Obviously, assuming we beat Northeastern tomorrow, that puts, let's say, 14-10, or excuse me, like 15-10, somewhere 14-11, somewhere in that range. That should be good enough for the NIT, you think. But that's kind of, I think, a realistic goal, looking at maybe 7 SEC wins. There are a lot of tough teams, and like you say, Auburn's a little bit down, Kentucky's a little bit down for now, but you know, knowing the way Kentucky rolls, they'll have it firing on all cylinders by the time they play us. But there are some winnable games. Like I say, South Carolina's one I dread a little because they're just so physical, but we also get them twice, so you know, maybe you could split with them. And you know, I do think Mississippi State and Ole Miss are teams that we can definitely get some wins from. And I do definitely respect what Graham said about, you know, we are paying a ton of money, but I do think that the NIT would be a accomplishment for this team. And I am liking what I'm seeing, that, you know, like Graham pointed out, we didn't blow a 20-point lead like we did last year. We got guys that are playing better than they did last year, showing that they're getting some development, which is what Cream, you know, that's one of his big selling points. He developed Dwayne Wade to be, you know, Final Four caliber player and ended up being one of the best, you know, guards in NBA history. So you want to see that development. And I think that is a big draw now that we have to Georgia. And I also think that one thing a lot of people are kind of missing is that KD Johnson is a guard that was a 4-star guard that is tied up with some kind of academic eligibility stuff. Hopefully he'll be playing in January. I'm not too sure on that. I would assume so if he cleared all his credentials. But, you know, that's another piece. That's a guy that's going to get minutes. I believe he's that good. I think that he's going to come in and get minutes. So we're still not at full strength yet. So I think there's a lot to be excited about. I mean, obviously, the SEC's tough, and we're probably going to have a couple games that, you know, might be a little cringeworthy. But overall, I think this team has already shown that they have learned a lot from last year. They've gotten better. And I think collectively we're going to be a lot more of a tough out than a lot of teams would suspect Georgia being. And I think that's progress, and that's what you can really ask for. It's just progress each year.
Yeah, I mean, progress is right. I mean, some of those, if we don't blow some of those leads, you know, maybe we get a couple more wins right there, and you know, maybe we wouldn't be that team that no one wants to play. And we may not win them all, but I do, and I just want to see some improvement, you know, and maybe not as many sloppy plays and turnovers and bad shots. Ant-Man's gone, so maybe we're not going to get so many ISO plays where he gets to shoot whenever he wants, and then we can get into some half-court offenses and stuff that can, lead to consistent play and yeah, improvement. I'm always wanting the NCAA, but if you guys are telling me it's NIT, I'll take it. And because the NIT was not where we were last year. So, anybody got any closing thoughts before you wrap it up, Graham? What you got?
Yeah, I mean, just looking at Georgia's schedule, their SEC schedule, I mean, I do think it's about as favorable as an SEC schedule can be. Like, the downside is you see LSU twice, but you only see Tennessee one time. You only see Florida one time. Or no, you see Florida twice, I'm sorry. But yeah, you only see Tennessee once, I believe. And you only see Kentucky once, too. So, I mean, that's an advantage. Like, getting Ole Miss twice. Ole Miss is solid, but you can win those games. Seeing, like, sort of who we have the doubles with and who we have the singles with, it kind of falls in our favor, and it really hasn't the last couple of years. So, I mean, maybe – who knows? Like, I think we'll learn a lot over the first 3 games of SEC play, but I think that this game against Northeastern tomorrow night is probably a lot more important than like we're kind of thinking of it as, just because that's the type of game that this program has lost coming off of a big win in the past. I hope that they come out and have a strong performance, and that game is solidly in hand in the second half. And I think it'll be telling if it is or it isn't.
All right. Well, just like the Dawgs are going to be learning with every game, this has been the Battle Hymnal. We've been breaking down UGA basketball. Please follow us on Twitter at DogOutWest and at UGA Hoops Mafia. I'm Josh at dog_stats.com. The next time you see us, I said .com. It's really not .com. Next time you see us, we'll be breaking down Cincinnati Bearcats, showing our bloodlust for the boys of the gridiron. Until then, thank you. Thank you, Graham. Thank you, Jake. And go Dawgs.
Skyline Chili sauce.
Go Dawgs.